What's up, guys? Gonna give you another walk around of a project we just finished. This is Josh Burkhart's LT1 Camaro. Obviously it's not a LT1 anymore, but we did a lot of stuff to this car. I'm just gonna walk you through every detail. Josh is a great customer, been a great supporter of the company. He talks good about us all the time online, and other people trickling in here. So we're going to show you all about his car. Not really sure what year LT1 car this is, but you can see I've got the front bumper off of it, just so you can see all the details. So we'll start with the turbo kit. Now we'll raise the car up just a little bit where we can see everything underneath. Alright, this car was an alcohol car, had a BorgWarner 76 on it originally, but it's going to the next level. It's going to be more of a no-time car now. A lot of the smaller classes have kind of phased out around here, so they just want to get to the next level on it. This is a 8891 Precision. This is the first turbo that was on the Grubworm car when it was running. I think this is the first turbo he run down in the 7s with. But we still got the truck manifolds on here. That's what it had on here when it come here, and I mean, personal opinion, they're good to 1500 horsepower all day long. We built some log manifolds on some Hemis. It didn't have much room. You know, stuff making 1600 plus with no issue. Yes, a header is a better option, but the manifolds still work great as well. So we got aluminum downpipe. No, it's not going to melt. 11 gauge. It's pretty thick. Pretty common. That's what we typically use on any kind of race car. Lightweight, easy to work with, pretty cheap. It got something new, is the Parker Speed turbo mount. We did this because it's highly likely that they're going to switch turbochargers, and this keeps us from having to switch the mount, because this particular Precision is not a Pro Mod style. So if they go to a Garrett or a Pro Mod or something like that, then they will have to change the Maven mount, which is typically what we always use. We've got the Turbo Smart Pro Gate 50s. These are the new compressed gas Gen 5 stuff. You know, super low profile, super lightweight. We love using these things. We always gusset the waste gates, you know, give them some support. Got the streetcar fabrication billet flange. We kept the hot side tucked in because they're going to be running a belt drive fuel pump right here, and then you got the inlet for your fuel right there. So wanted to keep it back, tucked up under all that stuff, where you wouldn't have any lines crossing the hot side or anything right there. Also put a double slip in there, just in case, you know, when the stainless starts moving around, it'll be easier to keep the connection good. I've just recently started doing that. You know, most race cars we just do solid. And even the ones that are really easy to get to, I'll still do solid. But a double slip like that, if you're gonna do one, is a good idea. Stainless does move around a lot when it gets hot. Got Turbo Smart blow-off valve. This is the Gen 5 as well. You can see how low profile it is. You know, very, very small, lightweight. Got 4-inch cold side. I looped it around like this because when you clock the turbo right here, it ends up being like right here. And there's really no pipe distance at all. Your welds are all almost going to be, excuse me, they're all almost going to be touching each other right here. So then you cram a blow-off valve in there, and just like there's too much packed in one little spot right there. And on the alcohol cars, they typically will put an injector or something to help with the IATs in the cold pipe, and that leaves no room for that. So just when building any of these setups, you have to consider, you know, what they're gonna possibly do with the car, not build people into a corner where they can't do anything without completely changing what you've done. So this is why we looped the cold side around and got it going up like this, because that gives plenty of room to add things later or whatever they want to do. Some people have asked about this bend right here. This is a ultra tight radius. I got this from Vibrant. This is a 4-inch pipe with a 3-inch radius, and for them, you know, just really weird places where you need something without doing a bunch of pie cuts, that's a good option for that. Got the Race Part Solutions dual seal, you know, always using those guys. Most all the piping and the flanges came from them as well. That pretty much sums up the turbo kit. We got a coolant tank here. This is not going to have a radiator, this car isn't. So this is just to circulate water through the heads. It holds a little bit over, I think like 3/4 of a gallon or something like that. So this will have a small pump on it, circulate water through the heads, help distribute the heat a little bit. Pretty similar to what we did on the grow worm. You'll see this car's got our front kit on it, and it's also got our strut support bar kit on it. We use this right off the shelf. This is exactly what you get when you order. Obviously it's long on both ends, you trim to fit, but we just put this in the notcher. We actually hand notched this part, and we just snuck it back and, you know, didn't weld anything up solid until we got it fit really good. We Frenched it in the towers here, and then we put a metal plate over the top and shaped it and capped it. They'll paint that later. That'll make that really strong. This particular front kit, I used our laser cut Camaro plate on. LT1s, if you order them on the website and you select the LT1, you're not going to get this. You're going to get the little bit cheaper price because you don't get this. But if you do want this center plate like this, you need to select 98 to 02 Camaro if you've got an LT1 Camaro and want this, because most of the time the headlight tray goes like this and comes to the front and then goes back. But I cut his right here and just kept these parts because I wanted more room for the fuel cell here. And while we're bringing that up, we also built this fuel cell for this car. This is a 4-gallon, exactly the same as the one that we offer on the website. 380 bucks, comes with a billet lid, rollover vent. You get to pick what size fittings you want on it. And you can also add this crash bar kit. It's just a welder kit. It'll come miter cut where it fits tight around the tank like that. But you'll have to fit the notch or fit wherever, you know, you want to put it. But we're going to send that off to get anodized, because we've got my fuel tank over there on my Datsun, and we've got another tank that we have to send off. Alcohol cars, it's a good idea to anodize them, because the aluminum, it'll turn it chalky, and if it gets, you know, too much like that on the inside from sitting a long time or something like that, from drying it out, it might get some of that contamination in your injectors and stuff like that. So it's a good idea to get them anodized. You don't have to. We've got a bunch of customers that's running them that haven't had them anodized, hasn't had any problems. It's just a peace of mind thing. All right, while we've got it up, I'll show you the underneath, how we did the subframes. This stuff for the 25.5. The subframes that's on this car are exactly the ones that you order online, that you get with your kit. So this will show you how they tie in. These were actually the ones that were handmade before we had the ones that were laser cut, but they're going to be the same. You can see the rear of the subframes tie in to the rear frame rail. This is 1.5" 065 chromoly. On his, because it had the racecraft, or I guess this is a racecraft piece that's been cut off and kind of added to this bar. This bar was on the car whenever it came, so we welded it into the subframes, and then we also added these and put them to the floor, because this bar going all the way across here, as we learned on grub worm, if it don't have support, the torque arms pulling up on it constantly, it'll arch that thing pretty good. So we tied it to the floor. These subframes, they go to the front and tie in to the front frame boxed area right there. And this plate structure, the brake line keeps getting in the way. This plate structure comes with your subframe kit that caps over inside of the frame there. It's already bent. Those weld in there. The front cross member we got going across there, it's removable. We also plated all of this and tied this into here. You can see we got the legs coming from the inside of the interior there off the cage, tying to the subframes, because that's SFI requirement. You got to do that. Didn't have to have any other bars on the floor because the OEM floor pan is still intact on the car. While we're under here, the trunk area, we cut that out and just put a piece of sheet metal in place of it, and we just pop rivet the metal to there at several points. A lot of people have asked about that. We might actually start offering that piece on the website. The car is going to be here a while before it's picked up, so we still might use it a little bit for R&D. We'll go back on the inside and look at the roll cage. One thing I might add about the subframes, and the car's still on the lift, and I actually I was supposed to do that, but I haven't yet. They need to be stitch welded to the floor, because that's what the book says. Subframes have to be welded to the floor in several spots across there. That will actually strengthen the bar going long ways. It'll keep it from flexing in between. So make sure you do that, the guys that have our subframe kit. The roll cage is our complete 25/5 or our 25/5 90% kit. This is what you'll get. Designed for the cars with carbon tops. This gets as wide as possible. You can see it's almost touching right there, if not touching the top. But you must cut the top off the car to get this cage to work, because you're not going to get it that high. And if you cut the leg length off of it, yeah, it will probably still work, but it's not going to fit exactly the way we designed it. Right quick, while we're here, we've got a billet seat brace we got from Mr. Fraser. FFP Customs. I had to go over here and look at the sticker because sometimes I get confused on the letters. But Jonathan might be driving this car some, Josh might be driving this car some. So it's an adjustable seat brace, so you can move the seat around depending on the driver without having to weld something to the seat. So pretty trick piece. It doesn't cost that much. I think like 150 bucks or something like that. Mike Caustic is where these tops come from, and they are slick. I'll pick it up a little bit where you can see how high the cage comes. You can see we're using every inch of available room. F-bodies in general don't have a lot of headroom, but you can get almost 4 inches more headroom in height off this cage than you can a regular 850 cage. But as far as this goes, you just panel glue this thing back on after you get the cage painted. Shows you inside the trunk. The delete panel. All of our cage variations go down on top of the frame rails, not the middle of the trunk. There is a little support section right there, but over top of the frame rail is always stronger. Here's our connection board going down to our subframes. That's pretty much it. If I hadn't mentioned, well, I think I did mention the motor plate. They're going to be running the factory motor mounts as well. The motor plate just kind of helps take some of the pressure off the side of the block. So this car does not have a mid plate in it. We do have those on the website though. But that's your basic overview. Time to get it back to tick performance and let those guys finish wiring it up. The motor that's in it is the one that's going to be ran. Just going to see how far they can take it. I believe it's a 5.7 liter, but it's got some pretty good internals in it and stuff. So they'll find the limitations of the block eventually, I'm sure. That's the pile of stuff that come out of the trunk behind the fenders. That's probably 25 pounds worth of crap right there. I'm sure Jonathan will start chopping some more stuff out of it, but we can't take all the fun, right? That's it. I'll come to you again with another job. Thanks, guys.